I'm live out here in these streets. What's happening?
Good.
My bad for being late. I took my what did I do? I took my second born for a little bike ride, right? And then I was about to take my two youngest for a walk. Uh, and I was like, I was asking my son, like, hey, reach me my cell phone. Because I didn't have a cell phone with me when I went for the ride. And so I was like, give me a cell phone since I'm going for the walk. Um, and then I was like, the one with the time on it. Then I was like, oh snap, what time is it? Hurry up, give my phone for me. It's 6:38. But you know that family time, man, you can't get it back. So you cannot get it back. My wife says she's gonna take them out for a stroll. So that's pretty cool. MJ, what's happening? Good to see you. How the heck are you? I know former Marshall said he was in the background. Hopefully he stuck around. Um, all right, first things first. The giveaway on the last live stream. I am doing a giveaway of a Rock Pals panel and my Sateki power station is my OG power station. It can be shipped to the 48 states and you pay for shipping. The last live stream has timestamps in it, so if you want to get the whole shebang, go watch that live stream and watch that segment of the live stream. Um, I'm probably gonna pick somebody this week. So when I do the giveaways, I'm intentional with not really commenting and engaging with the comments so that the first time when you win, I can go and respond to you and heart your comment, and then you'll get a notification. And then we'll have to correspond via email and all of that jazz um, to get that dip out to you or those dips out to you. Because what if you win both, right? Hold on one second, guys. All right. Let me get my screen together here. Myself live over here. Hey,
Love you.
love you too, buddy.
See you later.
See you in a little bit. It shouldn't be long. It'll be getting dark soon.
Yep.
I want to pop this chat out. Live chat. Menu. Participants, no. Pop out chat. Boom.
Oh, that's my time.
And then we go scroll, hit control, and scroll the wheel. That don't work. Okay, it works in the main window. I got you. Appreciate you hanging out. What time is it? What time is it? We at about 4 minutes. That's good. So today's topic is what? I can't power everything, or can I? Basically, I'm struggling with my two oldest boys are sitting here watching on the side of me. I'm struggling with all these panels that I have. I have not necessarily, I don't think I revealed my panels intentionally in a video, but I don't know if I recorded me going to pick up these panels or not. I know I did on y'all messing with my peripheral vision. Y'all good. You don't have to leave. Y'all just doing this slow stalking movement that's throwing me off. Slow stalking movement that's throwing me off. It's mainly the fourth, maybe the third too. So I have these panels. I have 4 290s. I have 2 300s. They're basically by the same brand. It's all Hyundai, rhymes with Sunday. I have 6 of those in 6 in parallel. I'm sorry, I have 6 and 2 each are in parallel. There's a limitation of the power stations that I have. Um, and I have to put them in parallel because most of them have 60-volt input limits. So that's what? 3 times 6 is 24. 2.4 kilowatts or 2,400 watts on paper, right? For every 500 watts, I'm sorry, for every 100 watts, you can get 500 watt hours per day. And so that, I think the total of that comes out to be, I don't know, I'm not going to math on the spot. So if I have 2,400, that's 24 times 500. I should be able to get 12 kilowatt hour, 12 kilowatt hours from that. This is what I'm struggling with. I got all of these panels, and the reason why I started to enumerate them, and that's just those 6 panels. I think I'm doing that math right. Let me double check that. So we have 300 watt panels. That's 1,500 watts each. That's 1,500 watt hours per day. So then we do 1,500 times, let's see here, 6. 9,000. Okay, 9,000 is what came to mind, but I wasn't sure if I was making that up. 9 kilowatt hours of power per day. Do I get that? I don't know, but that's what those panels are supposed to put out, just based on like a 4 to 5 hour day. That's my understanding of it. Or maybe it takes into totality the 4 to 5 sun hours. Sorry if I said that wrong. The 4 to 5 sun. Hey, babe, can you give me a glass of water? Thank you. I don't know if that takes into account just strictly the 4 to 5 sun hours, or if it takes into account. What you smiling for? Or it takes into account. This color looks good, by the way. If it takes into account the 5 hours of sun power and the 2 to 4 hours of non-potent sun power, right? But either way, I should be able to get 9 kilowatt hours a day. And let's get a little more technical there, because if I have 2 panels, 600 watts, they will easily get my power stations full. The biggest power station that I have is a 2,000 watt hour. So they're definitely producing more than 2 kilowatt hours per panel. And then for each pair, that's at least 6, right? So let's just assume that I'm getting 8 from. Oh, okay. Bring me something, please. I feel like bring me a decent amount too. It doesn't have to be crazy, but I don't want a small. I feel like a medium or something like that would be nice. Thank you. So 8 kilowatt hours. I was sitting here and my struggle was, and that's just from those 6 panels. I have other panels. I got a whole 1,000-watt array that goes into my Bluetti AC 200P. Then I have a 400-watt Bouge RV panel. I have a Renogy 320 that's in my front yard, and I have a Bouge RV 200 that's in my front yard. And I'm sitting here like, man, why can't I run my house overnight? So here's what I did. I did a thing. So let's take a look. I'm going to pop open an Edge browser, and then what we'll do is we'll bring that over yonder. And then just for the visual, I'm logging into my electric company site that shows me my power usage, and I'll show y'all what I did this morning because it was really bugging me. I'm like, man, how much power do I need to run this house overnight? I feel like I should be able to do that. And you know what's crazy about this? my videos that I'm posting of real life are kind of like in the summertime, but we are approaching right now in current time, we are approaching it getting chillier. It's fall, right? Um, let's look at energy use. And let me tell you something. The last couple of days, the last like good 7 to 8 to 9 days have been like really bad solar. So I've been struggling. Let's share a screen, share a window, and what's up?
Can I give you a hug before we leave?
Absolutely.
Or...
Love you too, son.
Mommy, wait!
Thank you.
Bye.
See you. I'm probably gonna have like about 3 more of those coming. Okay, so I want to share the window to the wall. Forgive me, I can be inappropriate at times. Not vulgar, but inappropriate. Let me just take my face off. Face off, face off, face off. So you can see over various times I'm using 8 kilowatt hours, 6, 7, 10, 7, 8, 9. And this is that about that time where I was really getting no solar. So I use 14, 12, 11, 18, I'm sorry, 10, 9, 11, and 6. So let's jump in here on, let's take Monday. What's up, sleeper? um, so what we're looking at here is the day view from midnight to midnight. And it shows you your max, which is 1 kilowatt. This is how high I went. This is right here. I use 950 watts. So it's showing 0.95 kilowatts. The nighttime, for all intents and purposes, is from about 10 to about 8 in the morning. Let's just call it that. So what I have to do is I have to look at the previous day's usage up till about 8 o'clock or 6 o'clock maybe. So I kept it real simple. This is half a kilowatt, half. So this altogether is 2 kilowatts. Let's call this 3, 4. Let's call that 5 kilowatt hours. So then if we go, we could just do the previous part of the night to keep it simple. You can call that 1, that's 6, 7, 8. Let's call it 9 kilowatt hours. And that is very typical of my usage. All right. So you know that freaking that array should give me about that much. But life is never that simple. Because I usually use that power during the day. And I'm working through this, a little bit of this with you guys. So let's say the Duran Duran, the Alcatel, and the All Powers R1500, which is only 1 kilowatt hour of storage. Both of these are 2. Duran Duran is 2 kilowatts. Alcatel is 2 kilowatts. All Powers is 1. If I went through the process, because right now between those 3 power stations, I typically use those to run my deep freezer and my, what do they call it? The vertical freezer. So they use about 75 to 90 watts an hour. So they chip at that power constantly. So I will never have the 2, 4, 5 kilowatt hours that goes through that during the day. But let's just say I take that situation, put those devices on other power stations. What's up, Siobhan? Put those devices on other power stations, and so what I have left is I have the Yolanis. Yolanis site is down. One of the viewers told me that their site is down. So that's interesting. I updated the description to denote that. I have the Yolanis left over. I have another power station. And that's it that I have on my garage floor or in my basement. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different zones, 5 different zones, 5 different setups down there. I have the 6 panels, which takes care of 3, and then I have the Yolanis panel, which is a 300 watt. It has cracked badly. I need to do a short to do an update on that, or I'm gonna do a video and put it in the Yolanis description. I'm trying to think about how to keep you guys in the loop as it relates to updates, because unless you have a really good update videos don't really perform very well, in my opinion, nor do they really have a relevance to most people. Now, if I had an EcoFlow Delta Pro Ultra or whatever it is, then yeah, you want to know if somebody has that, they want to know how that device is performing. If somebody wants that, they want to know how that device is performing 3, 6, 12 months down the line. I get that. But the Yolanis is like, nobody really cares. The EcoFlow base model, maybe a few people care. I'm trying to figure out a way to make that work. I also thought, quick deviation, I also thought about putting an unlisted playlist on my page where if you're curious about updates, you can go there, and the thumbnails wouldn't be as fancy. It would be, I will hope I could organize it in a way. Yeah, that gets interesting. But I have to figure it out. For now, the solution is to put it in the description of the original video. So my other 2 power stations that have the capacity and the ability to run my deep freezer and my upright freezer are the Yolanis and this other power station. Um, and they have a 300 watt, which essentially functions as a 200 watt panel. And then the other one has 2 Renogy 100 watts. Now, you guys may not have as many power stations that I have, but you can always think about it in terms of how I use them in zones. Like this zone may apply to you. So if you have one power station that's about 1800 watts and it has about a 1500 watt hour capacity, like the Yolanis, then you know that that power station can typically handle running your fridge for your freezer for a certain amount of time, especially if you put the right amount of solar in it, right? So if I switch those over, I don't know how well that's going to work because they draw power 24 hours. Now I do I have one down here? I'm always talking about them. I do have switches. And with freezers, I take some liberties sometimes. I don't do it all the time, but sometimes I take some liberties and I'll power those dips off for a good 3, 4 hours. My deep freezer, I will power off for the longest. So if I take my vertical freezer or my upright freezer and I say, hey, I'll turn the switch off, and then I'll put it on a 2 hour delay to turn it back on when I know my power station is kind of struggling. So what I do in that situation is, let's say I get up and I roll out of here early for work, right? And then I know I'm going to be at work for quite a few hours, a good half day, most of the day, not the whole day. Then what I'll do is I'll put it on a delay. I'll throw it off for 2, 3 hours, give solar time to kind of catch up and give it some power. Not catch up, but just kind of come on and start giving it some power. And then I'll allow the freezer to come back on. And then even if I get home and the freezer, the power station dies before I get home, the fridge is kind of going that much longer because I don't believe freezers need to be running 24 hours a day. Should I have them off for, I think they say a freezer is good for 24 hours and a fridge is good for up to 4. Should I have them off for 24 hours? No. But I feel like 3 to 4 hours is fine. I feel like I could manage that. Because I don't know how well the upright freezer is insulated, and because it's upright, it may not be as good as the chest freezer or the deep freezer. I typically give that less power off than the deep freezer. The deep freezer is a thug. All of that stuff kind of accumulated in there, packed in there. It's going to be fine. It's not going to have a problem. So I could entertain doing that, but I was really struggling with the fact that, like, man, why can't I run this house overnight? Why can I not give a constant, let's just say 500 watts? Because we looked at the usage. You see 440, you see 500, you see 320 something, so on and so forth. Why can't I give my house a constant 500 watts throughout the night? Now, the obvious is these power stations only have enough in them to cover like really about 3 hours, right? But if I have right now, y'all, I have um oh, your house, your situation, you could also be in a situation where you don't use that much power. We don't typically use that much power, but what has been happening because my power production has been ebbing and flowing, now I don't have, the power station to run the fans. I talked about this last live. Now I don't have the power stations to run the it's really fans, the lights in my general living area. I have to power all of that stuff. I may not have a power station that runs my fridge. Did I tell y'all I got a new fridge? Yeah, I did. It uses about 100 watts an hour. I've never looked at it closely, but I assume it uses about 125. I guess I should look at that closely. Hey, Shafar mate. Um, but when I'm rolling in the solar or rolling in the dough, I got the EB70 that could power my kid's fan throughout the majority of the night. I have the Oops 600 that could power my room fan throughout the night. My son has a little fan that he could power for 10 watts because he has a separate situation. Now, what we're running into with him is he has an air conditioner in his room, and his room only has one window because it's kind of like not a full room. It's a whole situation. So he's running about 300 watts. That's where this 500-watt load is coming from. It's typically about 200. I wonder if I could show you that in history. So he has a situation where because his air conditioner is running, he's using a little more power than we're used to. So I have to kind of consume that or pull that in. Now, what I was getting at, what's up, Al? T smoking, Al smoking tea. Um, I had this big old Tim got three, almost 3,500, give or give 3,500 watt hours. I have, let's see, I have the Golden Mate Orion battery that I just did the video on. I have the Redodo joint. These are all like 1,280 watt hours batteries. I have my first Dr. Prepare. I gave one of those away. I have my, what's it called? Yes, I am still here. I got another battery, Ampere Time. Before they changed their name to, I think, Live Time. I have a Power Queen. The Tim guy is the only one that's 200 amp hours or whatever it is. Is it 200? 300 amp hours, I think. Yeah. And then another company just sent me one. It's I forget what it's called. Dang it. I got my Redodo here. It's downstairs. Will just did a video on it. Solar Will did a video on it, took it apart. It performed really well. They were like, yeah, would you like to do a battery? And I was like, man, honestly, I don't have the capacity to add another battery to the mix. But I was like, give me like 8 to 10 weeks. If you want to send one out, go for it. And it was like, yeah, we'll send one out. So that's 6 batteries in and of itself. If you round down, that's 6 kilowatt hours of power right there. Now, the interesting thing is, how do I get the power from the batteries into the power stations? And what I used to use was something like this. In some situations, this is my best tech. Yeah, that color is really popping. This device is not that red. um, it's more like a matte red than what you're seeing here. But I like it. I'm not complaining. These colors is popping. This is a 500-watt Best Tech inverter that I got off of the marketplace. I blew something or another. Did I even take this fuse out? I low key, I mean, I understand what fuses do, but I didn't know how they work. Setai had to kind of hit me to it. Come on out of there. Son of a gun. He was saying I have to look in here and see if the thing is broken. And yeah, I think I see it broken. I messed it up. I got these old eyes. I think anybody who needed, yeah, you could see that it's broken. I wonder what this would do to the lens. Crazy work. Crazy work. I wonder if you could see that. That was the goal of me doing that. I just didn't want y'all to see. Um, can we figure that out? Nope. Nope. Focus is gonna be crazy because the focus is on my face. If I had a fancy camera, maybe it would have did the little showcase. You know how they do in these product video streets. But yeah, this fuse is broken. There's two fuses in it, but I'm pretty sure this fuse is broken. I can see he said there's a little wire in here. And that looks broken to me. For sure. Actually, I have another fuse here from maybe this Bouge RV. We're learning together, right? We're learning together. This one, yeah, that one has a thread in it that's still connected, a wire in it that's still connected. So he was telling me how that works technically. And then he also told me that if you look at the fuse typically tells you how big the fuse is on it. This one is a 40 amp. So yeah, I need to try and find my fuses to address that. That's what I would typically use to power my power stations, but that one's only 500. It can only dump certain amount of power into certain amount of power stations, and none of those power stations down there. I mean, the all powers, I think I could get by with slow charging it at 400. I think that is a setting. Not that you could pick 400, but it has quiet, standard, and turbo. And I think quiet will come in under 400. So I could use it for that. That's interesting. But this is where the Pecron comes in, where I have this battery clamp situation to XT90, which goes into this cool some of my gun, which goes to MC4. And I have so many power stations down there that dead in an XT60 that I could literally take that, hook it up to a battery, and then use my Tim Guide, which is 3,500 watt hours, and plug it into these power stations. Dump the 2,000 watt hours in one, dump the rest into another, and typically rock out. Now, what we say, I need like 8 kilowatt hours to run the night, 10 maybe. That's 3,500. You have to take something from that for inefficiency. I think this thing is like 83% efficient. So I just deal in 20s. You take 20% off the top, 3,500, 350, 600. We come down to about 29, so 2.9 kilowatt hours. And then you take the 6 of the other batteries, that's 12, dropping you down to 48. 48 plus 2, that's 6. That's not enough. But then if you take the 2, 4, drop that down to what? 8. That's 32. I should be writing all these numbers down. So we got 2.7, we got 4.8, and then we have another. Where did I get that from? Another, no. 4, 8 minus, that's 32, 3.2, 3.2 kilowatts, 2.7 kilowatts, and then we have 4.8 kilowatts, I think. What does all that add up to? I don't think it's still, the focus is blurry. Yeah. It definitely is blurry. And that makes sense. I don't know what it adds up to. I'm keeping track of the numbers. That's using all my mental capacity just to keep track of the numbers. And then to add them up is what, about a good 6, 7? That's not quite cutting it. That's what I'm trying to get. And I don't understand how I have all of this stuff going on and I can't get there. It's blowing my mind. But that pet grind is gonna get me much closer. I'm really excited about that pet grind. And then where is it at? It's upstairs. I also have the situation where the Bouge RV, joint it. Let me go get the battery. I'll go get the battery and the whatchamacallit. Y'all can still hear me, I think. So I'm really trying to trade down these solutions to get me to be able to go as long as I can. All right, now I'm going downstairs. Stuff that I it might mix up, then you're not missing out on much. So I want to show you this battery. And then I'll go upstairs and get the Bouge RV so I could kind of show you that in comparison to the Best Tech. Take these shoes off. All right. Bouge RV. Were any of you guys impacted by the ports and the dock situation? Did you go and like run out and buy up all the toilet paper? What y'all into? Almost slipped and busted myself up. Oh man. I actually need to adjust this up a little bit. Okay, so here's the battery. It is Siekon, Siekon. I asked for their mini version. This is a little bit different of a mini version than I'm used to, but it's definitely smaller than, which way am I going? It's a lot more square than I'm used to. So I have the Redodo sitting here. You can see how thin the Redodo is, and then how big the Redodo is. And then see how thin that is? I like this form factor. This form factor is cool too. It's just different. Let me show you the Siekon again. I can tell you what, I'm not crazy about these handles, but we'll talk about it in the video. Okay, let me get this out of the way. So I just got that one. Actually, let me do the math. 2 batteries right there. Power Queen, Golden Mate, Ampere Time. 2 Power Queen, Golden Mate, Ampere Time, and Dr. Prepare. That's 6. And then we'll do 6 times 1280. That's 76. So it's almost 8 kilowatts. And then we'll do minus 20% for efficiency. That gives me 6.1 kilowatt hours. So it's 6 batteries. And because the batteries are not how I think of them, how I tend to think of them as 1,000 watt hours, that's funny. They literally come down to being about 1,000 watt hours, which is something that Setai has mentioned to me before. Now, here's the rub. That's actually, okay, so we got 6.1 kilowatt hours. Let's do the math on the Tim guy. Y'all remember 6.1. So Tim guy is, let's just call it 35. I think it's 3560, but then minus 20%. That's 2.8. 2.8 plus 6,100. something or another. It's almost 9 kilowatt hours. So that's on the nose with the 20% inefficiency or efficiency taken out. So that's actually that could work. The only downside here is this. The pet grind ain't but one device, and that's 7 batteries. Now, could I do some parallel stuff and all of that jazz? I guess, but I'm not. Um, I'm not quite ready mentally to start buying cables and worrying about the gauge size and all of that jazz. So what I would typically do is one, I would get my son's air conditioner off of the house. I put it on its separate power station because, to be honest, in the season that we are right now, the air conditioner is probably coming out of the window soon anyway. So that's a solution. But what I did was, because he doesn't have the ability to take in any other air, I made sure to set his air conditioner to power save mode and also to about 73, 74 degrees. 72, 71 keeps his room too cold. I feel like if you too cold, the air conditioner don't need to be running. So we try to keep it on 73, 74. His mom defies me sometimes. Not really. She just doesn't know I have that pattern. So I'll come in there sometimes and I'll see 72. And then it's like chilly in the room. All right. I've ranted enough about that. Let's stuff more freedom. What's happening? Well, I didn't alert anybody, by the way. I felt like I gave a good 4 hours, so I did my duty, I guess. So if I could pull his air conditioner out of the mix by putting it either on a power station, let's just deal with the reality of it being on a power station. I will bring up something like the Yolannis, and see, here's where I'm running into an issue because the Yolannis is already in the garage and is supposed to be running one of the deep freezers. But I still have the Oops. I have the Oops 1800. I have the what? What's that thing? I gave one of the power stations away to Nathan. What is that thing called? Now I'm gonna have to look at. I'm gonna have to figure it out. Let's go to youtubular.com/askivesolar. Oh no. Can y'all hear that beeping? I'm gonna let y'all hear it in a second, even if you can't hear it. I'm gonna put you through my pain. Videos. The grease cell. I have the grease cell that's floating around down there that doesn't get used much. That one's 1,000 watt hours as well. Let me go take care of this freaking beeping and let y'all hear it. Right now, this is the a fiery, and whenever it hits like strong dusk, this is what I have to deal with. Beep. It's so luckily for that one that's in my main living area, I have it on a 5521 extension to a 5521. It's an extension, so there's inherently a breakaway in there, so I can just unplug that, and then I get to cut its power instead of having to come and pull the XT90 out of it or disconnect MC4 cables, which are outside. So I have this break coming into the house where it goes 5521. I think it's female because it's an extension. That makes sense. No, it's probably male. And then I have a Ellie Conta 5521 female to MC4. And then I have MC4 to XT90. So that female break 5521 allows me to break the connection easily and then pop it back in after a while. It makes that beeping at dusk and dawn, which is annoying. I sometimes have to wake up in the morning around 6:30, 6 o'clock, 5:45, and get up and unplug it when I forget to do it at night. And then the other downside to that beeping is because I'm managing it that way, I have to remember to plug it back in the morning after dawn has passed in order to get power. And sometimes I leave early in the morning. It's still dark outside. and I don't get to get power for half the day. It just be like that. I need to get that power station back down into the basement. But because I was kind of jumbling some stuff around, that one was a good fit for being at that door. For some reason, I don't know. It's probably when I ran out of a bunch of power stations that could do 60 volts, and that big panel outside that it's connected to is 60 volts. I think what's probably going to happen in this situation is I don't want to put the all powers in where the AC60 is from Blue Eddy with the B80, the extra battery. That's what runs my internet. So like a 1200 watt hour kind of combo thing is 400. Did y'all see that the AC60 is like $300 now? 400 watt hours, waterproof. That thing when it first came out, it was like $600. I'm pretty sure it was like $599. They were taxing for that joint. I didn't feel bad that that video didn't perform well because it was such a niche product and the cost was really it was up there. But you know, it is what it is. You weatherproof and weather seal a device, it's gonna cost a little extra. Okay. Um. Oh, and the Bouge. This will be the next video that comes out. This will be the next product video that comes out. I have like vlog style real life videos up the wazoo, so you may get a couple of these. This is their 2,000 watt inverter that has really like it's really going to be interesting to deploy this. I think I'm going to actually deploy it in the video. I'm thinking about breaking the video into a couple pieces, but I love the form factor. It's nice and small. We'll see what the fan does on this. We'll check and see if the inverter on it is 120 volts, which I need. I need some of that in my life. I could tell you off the rip, I don't necessarily like how close these are to each other, but we'll talk about that in the video. So that also has the ability to be paired up with these batteries, mainly the Tim got, and not really much else. I mean, it's my understanding, I haven't tested this, is you could hook it up to a battery that can only put out 100 amp hours. 100 amp hours is about 1,280 watts. So you can't put a 2,000 watt inverter on a battery that maxes out at 1,280 watts. And when I say that, what I'm saying is you can't expect to get 2,000 watts out of this. It is my understanding, just in theory, non-researched opinion, probably ignorant opinion, but I can't imagine why it would be, is you could hook it up to a 100 amp hour battery, but you can't use more than 1,200 watts. And I wouldn't even use that much because you're running your battery. Actually, no, that's fair. I mean, you are running your battery at a high C rate. Running anything at a high C rate is more wear on the battery than running it at half or 0.5 C rate. But I think they say is a 1 C rate. Did I say that? Anyway, I saw somebody had a question. Let's take a moment and see what these comments is snapping and jabbing and trapping about. But I didn't see y'all. Y'all didn't have a lot. That heat is causing hysterical laughter in your boy. We should definitely come out to visit. That's for sure. But coming out to live, I'm sure our bodies will adjust. But man, I'm not ready. Hey, I respect that. Check you out. Mathing it up. I actually talked about that. What do you think about the AC 200L? Okay, let's swing back to that. Let me see what everybody else is talking about. I always keep a hoard of toilet paper. All is well, my friend. What's happening? The Bouge RV is $269 at Wally World. Yeah, I dig it. It yeah, I dig it. It makes sense. That's actually not bad. $269. That's about the going rate. Renogy charges a little bit more for their inverters because they're Renogy. You know what? Jackery, this is a blip. Jackery, I need to make a Jackery video. One, because Jackery videos be popping. Facts. I think that I'm not gonna say that. Jackery videos do numbers because most people equate power stations or solar generators with Jackery. It's funny that Jackery puts out a polished product, slow on the features, super slow on the features, not looking to innovate, good customer service, playing to a role of culture, van life, RVers, people out in the woods. And it just somebody just reminded me, not some person, but I was watching a video and they reminded me that Jackery was started by a battery guy who worked at Apple. What a coinky dink, right? To have that kind of model, to walk that slow on features, to not give the people what they want. He came from Apple. There you go. The more you know. Now, I have heard that before many years ago. By many, I mean like 2 or 3, because I haven't been in the solar game for that long. I mean, the years are growing now. I mean, I'm pretty sure I had a channel in 19. When did the stuff happen? The coronavirus. That stuff probably happened in what, like 21, 22? And we approaching 25. And I was doing solo at least a couple years before that. Um, it's bothering me that this TV is on in my living room, just burning 40 watts. 40 watts is nothing, but it's burning it. So also keep in mind, getting back to the point of where I was going, these inverters. Oh, I wanted to show you the best tech. Oh, down goes the joint in comparison to this and that. That's a 500 watt. And that's a 2000 watt inverter. And this one is actually smaller than their previous version. Their previous version is pretty beefy. Um, I also have smaller power stations, not a whole lot of them, because that's where I'm going. It's like I would think in my mind I could take some of these smaller power stations and give that power to these bigger power stations to run my house. But I think because I'm so accustomed to doing zones, I'm used to having certain things already off the grid. I want to swing back to that in a second. I'm so accustomed to having things off the grid to begin with that I'm kind of like, the idea of how much power I use has always been lower than normal. Like the average person, they say uses about 18 kilowatt hours per day. You saw us, we sitting at 11, 12, 14. I think average person may use more than that now, but we're sitting at 11, 12, 14, 10, 7, 9. That's because my 2 deep freezers, I didn't always have 2 deep freezers. My deep freezers off the grid for the most part. I keep my fridge off as much as I can now, but that fridge was always on. My internet is off. My kids' gaming session only for like about 2 3 hours. They typically get 90 minutes, but sometimes they go a little longer. So I would say it's probably like about 2 hours. I try to watch TV off of solar power. I try to run a lamp. This lamp situation, this whole lighting situation right now is off of solar power. Actually, I could go and turn my electricity off right now, and everything in this room would stay the same, which I think is fantastic. It's freaking fantastic. What's up, Wayne? Good to see you, man. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Started 2020. Thanks. Appreciate that. Um, Now my channel started. Did my channel start in 2020, or did I start kind of making content in 2020? That's an interesting prospect. What else? Fans are typically off of the grid. They run off of power stations. So while I do have some power stations that I could power dump from, I don't have as many as I think I do, right? Because then they get used for stuff. For example, I got what is that? The Big Blue. I want to reach out to them to see if I could get one of their newer power stations. I got the Big Blue that runs my living room lamp. So I'm not, even though I have a ton of power stations, I have a ton of, it's like the idea of keeping up with the Joneses. This is a bad example, but you get the point. It's like as my power ability to produce gets higher and higher, and my power capacity to store gets higher and higher, I start to roll in my actual real life usage. So I'm always trying to like match this threshold of, okay, this is my real power usage. I'm only really covering about this much. And then we start talking about my wife cooking and washing clothes and, air fryers and microwaves. The stove doesn't even count because we can't cook off of battery power. It's like I'm kind of growing to the point where I'm getting close to having a capacity that could possibly match my current real usage. And here's the thing. The goal for a lot of off-grid people is 3 days of autonomy. So if I have, you know, 4,000 watt hours of battery, one battery, then I have, what was the other one? 7 point something without the 20%. So that's 8. So we got 8 and 4, that's 12. That's just batteries, 12 kilowatt hours. I still haven't covered the average usage for me. Um, but I am covering like I'm covering my base load. I shouldn't use base load because my base load is what I consider my 2 to 300 watts. I am still covering my real usage that is supplemented by solar, right? And then to be honest, these things over here, if we could get back to the bill view. Oh, it's not added to the stream. If we get back to the bill view, these days right here were real days. They I didn't have, I think for these last like 6 or 7 days, my deep freezer and my freezer were on grid power. The only thing that was kind of off, my fridge was mostly on grid power. Every now and then I would get a few hours out of it. So maybe a good 500, 600, 700 watt hours. But this is what I'm really looking at. And I do this from time to time. I'll pull solar out of the mix, especially when all my stuff is dead. And then I'll just try and charge my stuff back up so I could get me back to where I'm at. I'll charge my stuff back up to get me back in my equilibrium. So then that means for those few days, as I try to get power back into these power stations to the point where I'm like, okay, they're approaching full, my batteries are approaching full, let's get back to solar business. These numbers are very similar. So we're looking at about 12, 14, 12, 14, 11, 7, 8, depending on the temperature. That's how much power I use. So we still don't use a ton of power, but I'm really trying to get to a space where I have enough and I could bring the system together. That's really my problem. I couldn't do that before. Taking a power station that's in a garage, not wanting to move it. I would have to do a situation where I run an extension cord, which is not a problem. It's all down in the basement anyway, so it's not a big deal. So running an extension cord to get that power from that power station into the other. I really haven't found that groove that I want to find where the system is just as seamless as a 20 power station, a 20 power station setup can be. I'm still chasing that constantly. And sometimes the effort is just not worth it. Like my fridge situation. Last night I fell asleep early. My fridge turned off at about 2 o'clock. Um, and my wife was like, you going backstairs. I'm not sure if she held in her contempt for me in that moment or if she was giving me some grace because I was tired. What's today? Saturday. I think that day I had either taken the kids out for a ride. No, that was Thursday. I took the kids out for a ride Thursday, and gave her some quiet time to get some work done. Uh, but she cut me some slack because she was like, "Are you going downstairs?" And I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "Well, the fridge is off. Can you turn the fridge back on?" It was about 2 o'clock. Under normal circumstances, when I was in a good groove, when my wife was not around, my fridge would turn off around 7. So it going off at 2 is reflective of the times of me not having a full power station. As we also enter into fall, I'm getting more shade on my 1000 watt array for the AC 200p anyway. So it's not going to be balling out of control like it did during the summer anyway. So I said all that to say, even when my wife wasn't here, even though I have the Tim God sitting right here, and I had the ability to take this situation, pop it on there. I didn't do it that often. I just kind of made it work. And I'm not sure what was going on with me mentally. I said in the last live stream where I think I talked about it, or maybe the live stream before that, where it could have been just because I was here at home with the kids. I may not have wanted to take the mental capacity to sit there and kind of make the situation work when it was working for the most part. But now I'm faced with the dilemma of, and I had said this before, am I gonna move this AC 200p back downstairs? Really, I really want to find, and I passed on this opportunity, but there was like a 550 watt bifacial panel that somebody was selling like about an hour away. And I didn't necessarily like the prices on it, and I didn't necessarily have the money for it. So I was kind of like doing these mental gymnastics, as my homie says, about like, should I grab it or not? And I think I probably should have grabbed at least one, but who wants to drive an hour for one? I think the dude wanted like 150, 160 for him, which is a little bit high. No matter how high, for the most part, no matter how high a panel can be, when you can go and grab it locally, it's typically worth it because you don't have to worry about shipping and things like that. I'm pretty sure they were like new or something like that. Actually, I need to check my battery here because my fridge is running on this as well. Yeah, I'm at like 19%. So I'm gonna take the fridge off and put the fridge on grid power. So this whole setup that I got going on is using about 70 watts. So that's my laptop fully charged, a USB powered portable monitor, a real like 24-inch monitor that uses about 15 watts. I have this like light I bought off of the marketplace that has a sheet of paper in front of it diffused to give me color. I have a lamp right here that uses about 10. So let's say 10, 20, 35, and then the camera itself probably uses like nothing, 5. Yeah, where's all this power coming from? Maybe this lamp uses more than 10. It's like a specialty lamp that is used for crafting things. So it has this. You ever see somebody building like a boat in a bottle or working on some kind of thing? They have like a light that can drop down and work over the area. That's the kind of light I have right here. I did not know that's what it was, but I got it off the marketplace for the low. So I just made it work by taping a sheet of paper to it to diffuse the light. And actually, I probably could use something like this to record videos, but I don't want to deconstruct my live setup to go into the living room and do all that jazz. But anyway, okay. CV. Wait, what? Okay, 2020. I'll take it. I'll take it. Bourgeoisie is having a sale. I think I remember seeing an email. Okay. Before I swing back to that question, the real question that I have to ask is, will I want to connect and disconnect this situation to every battery? And I don't think so. I'll do what I have to do. But technically, what I could do, guys, because I have these power stations, and I'm not saying I would, but because I have these power stations, what I could do is, instead of, I could still power my whole house, right? But it's the same situation with my son's air conditioner. Oh, I have the I forgot. I have the a fiery right there. That's 1,000 watt hours, but it typically, what does it power? It kind of powers my TV and stuff like that. The internet is powered off of the AC60 plus the B80, and then I'll run the TV off of the Fiery, which has about a 1200 watt inverter and about a similar amount of watt hour capacity. I forgot that I have the Super Vito Man that's on my landing. I sometimes use that to run my kids' air conditioner. So that could be a good air conditioner substitute. What that does is I run an extension cord up my steps right into my bedroom. My wife is not crazy about that, the regularity with which that happens. Um, I actually just tweaked the system today. So imagine you have a set of stairs and then it breaks off and becomes another set of stairs. Let's bring this down a little bit. So yeah, we're going up. First set of stairs, and then right here on this landing, I have the Super Vito Man. And then you have to go up 6 more stairs, cross the hallway into my bedroom. So I just run an extension cord across the hallway, which is problematic. You'll never find you will find out how interestingly your house is designed when you start to have to run extension cords across thresholds. It's like, why couldn't an extension cord, an outlet be right here? That would be great. Or why couldn't the stairs be the other way? That way the cable could run across the wall and into the room and not be in the walkway. But anyway, I actually took the Bouge RV Juice Go, and I put my TV on that. My TV is a TCL, so it uses about 35 watts. I have all of my TVs on like low power mode, or if they don't have it, I have them set to a darker setting so they draw less power. They typically cycle from anywhere of like, I think the lowest you can get it might be like 25. No, 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 it's 30. And then it could go all the way up to maybe about 70, 80. My TVs are never on bright. It's a struggle when I'm watching shows like Justified or FBI. Sometimes I have to boost that brightness up, but for the most part, we get by. So what I did was I took the Bouge RV Juice Go, I ran the cable up to the bedroom, and then I had the power station being charged from stay logged in. I had the power station being charged from the Super Vito Man. So if ever I wanted to pull the cable off, we would get a full Bouge RV at all times. Now that's where I used to have the Sateki. So that Sateki, me giving it away, even though I'm ready to give it away, it produced a hole in my system. So I have to fill it with another power station, and I have the Bouge RV Juice Go. Not saying that that power station is going to be the one that stays there. I'm not sure what will stay there. But the Sateki cannot be charged and discharged on AC at the same time. It can be charged and then has DC. We saw these power stations early in the game that the AC port could not stay on while they were being charged on some of the more cheaper joints. The Sateki is one of those that does not have that ability. Um, so I kind of had a system there. That's why I love power stations that have USB-C charging, because that gives me a lot of flexibility to power dump into them to make them last longer. It's the same thing with my Energizer P320. Love that little power station. The screen has some stuff with it sometimes. Sometimes it stays showing that it's charging, but I noticed that even Jason Noise still has his. That's how I know that device is super reliable. He keeps his around because not many power stations have the ability for years to do dual charging at 100 watts. So whenever he has to test 100 watts on a power station, he'll grab his Energizer P320. And then when the EcoFlow came out with theirs that did bi-directional charging, the River 2 Max, he'll grab that one. Or I don't think he has that one. I think he has the Pro. He'll grab the Pro. So that Energizer P320, the form factor on it, I love that thing. And then I love that it has a 100 watt bi-directional and a 60 watt non-bi-directional. So if you had any shenanigans dealing with a power station that had a bi-directional port and they couldn't negotiate it well, and one was always charging and you couldn't figure it out, you could still pop over to that 60, and then that could power most things. That Energizer got so many things right. I said in a short, if it had the ability to charge from a decent amount of solar, I think it was, for a long period of time, it would have been the best portable power station, hands down. 200 watts of solar going into that thing, that's too much. But if it had it with this 100 watt bi-directional, 60-watt non-bi-directional. I think it's like a 300-watt inverter, which is fine. It's a nice little device, and I don't think that thing is going to ever leave. My son uses it right now. The form factor on it is perfect. It sits right on a little rolling laptop table with his Xbox One, his Xbox. We don't have the latest one. I need to find the Series S. I don't want the Series X, but I need to find the Series S for a good price. We had the Xbox One that came out before that. He has a 24-inch Samsung monitor, and it powers that. I think it uses about 60 watts. The game console uses like 40. I think the monitor uses like 20. And to contrast that, it's a 24-inch monitor. And then I have 32-inch TCLs that use about the same amount of power. So if ever stuff got real and we really had to power pinch to entertain ourselves, I probably wouldn't even use my 40-watt TV. I'd come in here and we kind of gather around a 20-watt TV. I got so much solar now, I don't necessarily see that as being a reality. But like I said in the other live stream, if stuff kind of got weird, I don't think I would keep all my solar panels out. I'd probably have like one or two that I brought out, and then at the end of the day, I would bring them in, and maybe like some portables that I could kind of deploy quickly. But yeah, I don't think I'd have 6, 7, 10 panels outside if stuff got weird. So yeah, I'm not sure if I finished that point that I was trying to make. Oh, I was talking about the system and the Sateki and my wife and trying to bridge that gap so that basically it's an in between that power station. So if ever I wanted to give a break, I pull that cord out of the way, clear it out of the way, and then she has a power station that'll run that TV for a good 5 hours, which sadly is not long enough. And to be honest, I don't know what will end up there. I could use I could use my new Blue Eddy AC50B. That one actually would be really nice. I would love to use the EcoFlow, but the fan is annoying. It's not obnoxious, but it's just annoying. I can't have it in a quieter space. But that one would be good. Um, that's really it. I can't see anything else. My oops, the fan is kind of comes on and off. It's not obnoxious, but it's annoying. So we're just making it work. But I like that I could dump 100 watts into that dip to get it right against a TV that's using about 40. So you're netting in 60 watts the whole time. When I put it up there, it was full. So I was just trying to keep it topped off, which worked well. All right, the question, which was something about the AC200L. Okay, it goes AC200P, AC200 Max, and then I believe AC200L. I prefer the AC200L. If I ever asked Blue Eddy for one, I would hope that they would send me that one. Would I take a Max? Sure. But I would want an L because it has the AC charging on it. It doesn't have the power brick. The 200 Max, I believe, has a power brick. And I know the AC200P has a power brick. I really want my next step up in a big power station to have a power brick with adjustable power input on it. That's going to be fantastic. And I also think that the 200L has Wi-Fi, and I don't think the 200 Max does. I think it only has Bluetooth. So that L is really what I would have my eyes on if I was interested in one of those devices. Whenever I talk about those devices, Wayne typically asks me, "Well, what about the T?" And I never, because realistically my mind is not in a place where I feel like Blue Eddy would send me a bigger device. So to have the bigger and then the kind of more tricky one, I feel like they ain't gonna send that one to me. Not at this particular subscriber count. Let me get some water. Also, the 200L can take in more solar. I wish I could lock this in so that my brightness doesn't do that when I get out of frame. Um, but I'm not gonna pull this camera out to mess with it. Y'all, I did some camera shopping. I look at cameras about every 18 months to 2 years, and I'm in the midst of doing some research on cameras. And I must say, it's encouraging because this year there's actually some cameras that are worth spending the money on. It's like I wish I had sound effects because I would do the yay. My voice don't even go that high because all this bass, you feel me? But the celebration and the confetti and all of that jazz with the little kitty voice saying yay. There's some interesting offerings out there now. There's still some complete bull crap where these companies are slow walking and making newer cameras with worse features. Sony got a whole line of cameras that are designed for vlogging that you can't even get far enough away from your face because the lens is too tight. And then if you can manage to get it far away from your face, the camera don't have no stabilization on it. And then the digital stabilization that it has on it is it crops in so far that even though you got it further away, it brings it so close to it's just in this. It's supposed to be for vlogging. If some of y'all are not familiar, vlogging is where you walk around basically and talk to your camera and you record in a very like shotgun type of style on the go. So I'm like, what is these people doing? You gonna sell me, man? Listen. Now, no knock on Jackery because Jackery was one of the first companies to give us portable power stations, right? Yeah, Gold Zero, who has been out there for a while, they charged appropriately, sometimes selfishly. And my camera's about to fall off the joint. But that first Jackery 290 or whatever it was, it only charged at 45 watts. Can you imagine Jackery today putting out a power station? Actually, I think they have a bundle. No, that's EcoFlow's new joint. EcoFlow's new joint comes with a power station and a 45-watt panel. Anyway, let's not get lost there. Imagine if Jackery put out a power station now that maxed out at 45 watts and it was like, yeah, this one is designed for van life. That's essentially what Sony did. They designed a camera, said it was for vlogging, and then gave it no real vlogging features at all. But I digress. There are some cameras out there that I'm considering. Um, I can't necessarily afford them, but at least now there's some things out there that I could get behind. I'm not gonna keep you in suspense. I love the A6700 by Sony. That one is pretty much my front runner right now. I was going through this process of trying to figure out if I wanted to get the A6700 versus the FX30. The FX30 is the more video centric one. It could snap some pictures, but you wouldn't use it to take pictures. It's a little bit bigger. It has a fan in it to stop it from overheating. I think about the what's the word? It starts with I. The I hate when I forget words. The implications. I think about the implications of using it for live stream. Oh, the family's pulling up. Um, and could it run this long without overheating? I don't know. This is the first time I picked up the phone and called the camera shop in my neighborhood to see if, not my neighborhood, my area, to see if they rent cameras because it was never worth it for me to go down that path before because it's just the stuff just wasn't worth the money. All of these cameras have some stuff with them, but the 6700 is pretty cool and it's $1,500 and that's 1,500. It's 14. It's 13.99 with no lens. So I'd have to buy a lens too. So it's like, ugh. And then I also really like the Pocket 3 from Osmo. I just recently purchased the Osmo Action 4, and that's what I've been recording a majority of my videos on currently. Like if you see me sitting down recording a video, I'm recording it on an action camera. Dang, why am I? Oh, okay. So that's been pretty encouraging. I'm not at a point where I want to pull the trigger on the camera just yet, but I'm closer than I've ever been. And that A66, the A6700 has some downsides, I believe, but they don't come to mind right now. See what y'all snapping and trapping about. Yeah, it's good to see Wayne in the chat. I feel like I don't know if he watches during the live streams, but sometimes he's not in the chat and all that. What's up, Jay? Good to see you. Let's see. Yeah, that's a fact. Even the camera can charge via USB-C, which is something that I definitely want. I want the camera to be able to charge via USB-C. I want the camera to be able to live stream via USB-C. It has to have in-body image stabilization, which it does.
Hello.
What's happening? Where you get the chips from?
Well, Grandma's house.
Oh, y'all went to grandma's house. Was the ice cream place still open? Ah, it's 7 o'clock. Mommy should have ran y'all to the spot.
And there's I'll be able to get screen time.
I can imagine so. Y'all got to clean up, but I don't know. Y'all did any schoolwork today? Hey. So I want to get there. Basically, that's where I'm at with it, and I'm always trying to make what I have work. What happened, Viva? I know it was closed.
Yeah, closed at 7. Then we was gonna go Kennedy was like, then we was gone.
Yeah, I feel like you should have took them to the spot where we get the alternates from. I thought y'all would have went out there if they closed.
We got ice cream here. I was gonna go too hard. Then they're like, oh, somebody's idea, Josiah's bright idea was grandma's house. Let's get ice cream from grandma. Like, yeah.
Did she have ice cream?
Yeah.
They had
She
it.
keeps it. Yeah. She
Nice.
Different
You
time.
will not get snack again.
Come on, guys.
Okay, Lisa. Okay, Lisa.
I guess mommy's just trying to get y'all out of the space. Let's see. How do you find deals on the marketplace? Here, I can't ever find any. Where are you at again? AC200P and then AC200L are the same price. Really? Interesting. Yeah, I'm not going to go there here. So what I'm going to do is remove that. And then what do? Stop screen. I could do it here. Let's see about that. So on Amazon or Blue Eddy?
You want to sit home? Get your ice cream. Baby. This time.
I know y'all whispering, but I'm still I'm curious about what y'all talking about, so it's distracting me.
It's just screen time and it's late. I didn't think it was gonna be that long. It was only an hour.
So Blue Eddy, hey,
Hi.
AC200. What's happening with you? What? Nothing?
I was just thinking about pulling your thing up,
Why?
your microphone, but it don't go down. You can't even see the microphone in the camera.
Oh,
So
true.
okay.
I suppose. I guess. Homewood. Oh, okay. I feel like you. No. I feel like you should be able to find deals. I just look on the marketplace for Facebook. I don't know if you drive. I have my search radius at about 20 miles or so. I could check. I'll check. Let me see. Don't mock me.
What?
Don't mock me.
What?
Come on, Bill, clean up.
Time for me to clean up. See ya.
Let's see. Right now, I have mine set within 17 miles. So that's decent. And then they'll also show you stuff that's in your surrounding area. So whether you have a mile limitation or not, it should be fine. Okay, boom. All right, we're talking about the AC 200 from the Blues. Okay, I see the AC 200L for 1200. That's actually pretty good. AC 200L. AC 180. All I see is the L on whatchamacallit. The AC 240 is 1600. Let me see if I put 200 max. I just did AC 200 so it could kind of show me as much. Is the max still for sale? No, I don't see anything. Let me go to their site. Where am I at here? Boom, boom, boom. I think it's Blue Eddy Power. Hey, excuse me. It's okay. That's it. Portable power. Let's take a look. You don't have to announce it, buddy. You don't have to announce that. Share screen, window, this one, share, add. Home generator. Where do I find this at? This is all weird. I guess home backup. AC 200 max. It's like a home backup kit is just batteries. Solar generator, I know what that is. That's the whatchamacallit. Premium. Oh, man, why is your site so weird? Let me just click on portable power. Is it even showing me products? Like, what is going on here? Blue Eddy, this site is a mess. All right, now we got to just poke around. Ecosystem, solar panel, expanded portable power accessory. Let's see if we can find it in here. The premium series, I guess they mean orange. AC 70, 240, AC 200 PL. Fancy. What the heck, man? What is this? I don't know. Maybe they don't carry the max. Let's do it just a search. Blue Eddy AC 200 max. I don't use Google, so you definitely wouldn't see that this way. Yeah, all they have is this the bonus situation. I guess I didn't go far. Holy moly. Definitely want that. That's Europe. I give up. Blue Eddy power plus panels. Let's see what this yields. I was hoping I could kind of change it temporarily out of stock. Does this site have a search? Yeah, the AC 200 Max does not show a product by itself anymore. I'm not seeing it. So that's weird. So you almost can't really gauge the price. But the AC 200L is priced right. I mean, that 1200 is super decent. I'm looking into Proton secure email and drives and stuff, but that's of no consequence. So I have a situation where I have portable power. Oh, Char Farme has ideas. Did you see a portable power? Yeah, portable power just gives us this whole thing. And if I click on that, it gives me like just a main page. It's not a product page. So you got boom, boom, boom. Ain't no swipe there. It's just really, it's a weird situation. But it could just be that simply the AC 200 Max is not on the front line anymore. It's been retired. Oh, wait, we got arrows. Let's check the arrows. Unavailable. There you go. It stopped. It's scrolling but not going anywhere. Let me expand and see how far I can get with that. Portable power with the arrow drop down. Blue Eddy AC 200 Max. We even got the AC 200p, both unavailable. So, boom, boom. Yeah, $11.99. So I wonder what they're going. I wonder if they have any more in stock, and then what they're gonna do with the price on like the 200 Max and the 200p. I saw the 200p for like $7.99 at some point, but I don't. I think that was a refurbish. They may have them in the refurbished store. You can't always find a refurbished store though. That's the problem. At any rate, so that's that. Anything else, Al, smoking tea related to that? I just feel like the price of the AC 200L is just what it is. That's where they at with it. $1,200 to get a Sirius. Now, Al smoking tea, weren't you thinking about getting that Beastie Alcatel when it was on sale? Because it went on sale again. It was like $2,000. It was tempting, not from a purchase standpoint, but just from an appealing deal. Swinging back to something, I want to think about what smaller power stations that I have that I could use to power dump and kind of get myself over the hump of taking care of all my nighttime stuff. So I forgot I have the Pecron 600. I didn't forget it. I used it. I just charged it up today. I'm thinking about power stations that I don't typically deploy. Put that down, please. That's not a toy. I feel like bring it and put it on one of these computer chairs. So I got the Pecron that floats around. I got the EB3A that I've kind of demoted, but that don't even have 300 watt hours. It's like 268. What I did was in my back situation, I had my two 100 watt panels in parallel. If y'all remember, I did maybe a short about my Renogy Eclipse panel had stopped working. So it's only a 100 watt panel that gives about 50 watts, but it still fills up the Blue Eddy EB3A easily. It's always full. Because that connection back there on my porch coming into my back door is an 8mm. Sometimes I used to take the EB70 and use it as a power dump because it has 700 some odd watt hours of capacity, which works in some situations. I just put that by the back door to catch that 100 watt panel. So the EB3A is an extra one with not much power in it. So that one probably would never. I could use that one as a TV situation. I got two all powers R600s that don't have a permanent home. I can't really use them on a lamp because they're 110, they cause my LED to flicker. I think somebody was telling me last time that, sometimes the 110 can cause LEDs. That may have been, I forget his name. It's OU something too cool, but I forget his actual name because YouTube gets weird about the names on what it shows you. But he's the guy. I learned a lot from him. Comments. He's like a retired electrician. Heard negative stuff about what the EB3A. The Browie uses. I use that to run a lamp. The AC50B and the EcoFlow River 2 Max typically like they interchange between running my kids' Xbox sessions. They're both XT60. I have to be careful with that AC50B because it maxes out at like 28 volts. That'll be the next product video that I do after the Bouge RV. It maxes out at 30 volts, but then I have the EcoFlow, the two all powers, all can taken up to 60 volts. And I actually have a 200 watt 40-volt panel that's at the front of my house. So I have to be very careful not grabbing it because I'm used to interchanging these XT60 power stations easily. So I'm like, what? Okay. Because it's an XT60, I have a tendency to not always think through. So I could just grab one XT60 for another. And I do that often. Like both of my R600s are full because I did that. And when they both got full, I grabbed my EcoFlow from the back porch and I plugged it in. I think your rock pails are still outside on the steps, Ivan. So we have to grab that and bring that in. Oh, I forgot about the Loom Pal. The Loom Pal is an option for power dump. It's not LiFePo, but according to them, it has like 1,500 cycles. I have the Go port, which is about 1.2 kilowatt hours. That one's also not LiFePo. So I'm not crazy about cycling it. What I've been doing lately is taking my non-LiFePo power stations and treating them more as reserves. So I don't use them every day like I use everything else. I'd rather grab. Say, don't come behind me with all that, man. I feel like y'all can go work somewhere else. Yeah, that's about it. I can't think of much else. Like a bunch of batteries. I talked about the Oops. I actually give you an update on the Oops 1800. I needed to exchange the Oops for another power station, and they sent it out, and I have to send the other one back because one of my barrel connectors stopped working, and they were prompt with it. The person that I've been working with, so I got a replacement, and I'm hoping that this one runs 1,800 watts more easily. I didn't even mention that to them. The fact that it makes this like buzzing sound when I try and throw a large load at it. I'm hoping this one performs better. It has been fully charged. I don't know how much these days I care about a full charge, discharge, full charge. That's how I cycled a lot of my devices. But a full charge is enough. And because I use all of these power stations, they will inevitably get a full charge, discharge, full charge. So really all you need is to full charge it according to the manuals. But I used to overdo it, but I'm not as concerned anymore with that particular practice. I still do it, but I'm not going to do it on this particular power station because it's such a like out of the loop power station. It doesn't necessarily matter to me as much right now to overly calibrate it. Next steps for me is to try and bring a cohesive approach to how I keep stuff powered for longer. It's also to prepare for this winter sun and what I'm gonna do. I have a situation up at the front of my house where I have two panels. I've had that situation for quite some time. It's actually three panels now, but one of the panels is just my 200 watt flexible from all powers, which I really dig. That's a nice panel. Right now, my 300 watt is in an optional position, and I want my 300 watt panel. My 200 watt Bouger panel that's in the front of the house is in a permanent position, and I think it has a 40-foot 10 gauge cable on it, and I want to get that to be a 50-foot 12 gauge cable because I don't need 10 gauge up there because I don't have any panels in parallel. And I'm not going to put any panels in parallel in the front yard. That would just be inconvenient because I have to shuffle those panels around at least twice to get good sun. In summertime, I'm not going to get good sun from it. I bring all this up for this. As the winter comes on, I'm going to be able to get more sun comparatively at the back of my yard in the morning than the front of my yard because my house is going to block the front of my yard for the majority of the day. So what I used to do is I had my 40-foot cable. I actually put like another small extension cord on it, like a 10-foot 10 gauge. And that gave me some extra like footage to bring it into the back and then lean it up against my house to get sun into that front zone. So what I want to do is have like a little more of a flexible cable and a slightly longer cable, so I don't have to have two cables hooked together to get that distance. Because what would happen is the MC4 connectors would get caught on my brick. Um, and I could have gone through the process of putting the extension in the house, the shorter extension, and just had the longer extension outside. Versus right now, what it would be is the longer extension is in the house, and then the shorter extension extended it out further. So whenever I was dragging that panel around the back, my it would always get caught, and it worked my nerves. So I need to measure that cable. I think I did. I'm pretty sure it's a 40-foot 10 gauge cable that I'm gonna put a 50-foot 12 gauge cable there. And then I want to have a power station in this zone right here that can take in the panel, because right now the AC60 cannot. And then if I put, let's say, the all powers R1500, I need to do that video, because once I do that video, then I can ask them for the R2500, and I believe they'll give it to me. They may not like how long it'll take me to make a video, and I don't plan on it taking me that long to make a video, but I'm pretty sure they'll give it to me. My all powers videos actually do really well because the products are really good for the money. Um, they really are. I mean, that dip for $4.99 before um, Anchor and Bluetti and EcoFull start dropping their prices to $5.99. It was the cheapest way to get 1,800 watts into your home with a decent amount of solar, UPS, wireless charging. I was like, man, that thing is a beast. I think it has wireless charging. I could be wrong. And I think my EcoFlow OG, my first one, is dying. I've been putting a 200-watt array in parallel on it, and it never gets past 1%. I may need to bring it up and just wall charge it to see what's what. I would love to give that device to someone local, but people have unreasonable expectations of what power stations can do and what solar panels can do. So I don't want to give it to somebody and they think they can run their fridge from it. I kind of need to give it to somebody who's kind of already in the know, because what it's going to be is it's going to be a good pass through. So like, let's say I give somebody a 100-watt panel. It's like, this power will not do well being stored in this power station. It's a lithium ion battery. I hammered it on purpose. I held back nothing from that power station. So I'm sure the battery capacity has been like pulverized. Excuse me. But in an emergency situation, or just in a convenient offset situation, maybe somebody wants to take it out with them, day at the park, or use it to charge their phones or run a TV from solar. Because that, no matter how little power comes into it, running anything from solar when you first start doing it, and even when I do it now, I think it's dope. It puts a smile on my face. So uh, I wonder if it still works. I need to look into that. Um, Man, okay. I want to drop an idea on you guys, and then I'm gonna get up out of here. You know how you can buy a parallel cable to connect two panels together in parallel, or a Y cable? I was talking with SetType.
Whoa!
I was talking with SetType about basically taking a parallel cable. I think it's genius if it works. And what I would essentially do is, let me see if I could illustrate. Hold on. These are the Batteria flat MC4 cables out I'm gonna drop a link right now because they're fantastic. I have not deployed them yet, but the idea of them is it's fantastic to me. Let's see. I'm trying to see if. Hey guys, don't start that. Do it after my live stream is over and I'm almost done. I think I'm spelling the word wrong. Flat MC4 cables. I wonder if they're gonna come out with like MC5 cables. Here they go. They are expensive, that's for sure. But if you got a situation where you could use them, there's nothing out there like it. Let me. What in the world? I feel like. Guys! Y'all got one more time and I'm sending you upstairs. Okay, I'm trying to figure this out, how to share this link. And it looks like my stuff is not working the way that it's supposed to. Okay, let's do this. Okay, here it goes. It just takes up a whole bunch of space now, which is stupid. It's a fuse, an electrical fuse. Hey, go upstairs. Y'all are distracting to me. I know the folks can't hear y'all and they say it's fine, and I actually heard it and it's not bad, but it's very distracting. What's up, Warren? What's happening? All right, those are the flat MC4 cables, and I'll put it in the description. Okay, but for the sake of what I was talking about, I wish I had a pair of parallel cables. I might have to buy some more because of it. So what you use parallel cables for typically is to connect to solar panels. But what if you took and the solar panels are going to the power station, and then you took some parallel cables, hooked them up, and then you end up with a Y. Bang, bang. In theory, that should be able to allow you, unless the polarity or the what do they call it? The male or female, what's the word that they use for cables? I know in genitalia it's the sex, but I don't know what it's like when you're talking about cables. But I have an idea to try to take those two and end up with two solar connectors on either end. Not to use them at the same time, because I wouldn't do that. I think Setai tested that theory of like taking a panel and splitting it out to charge two power stations. I still want to remember the results of that test. But what I want to do is I want to be able to have an XT60 connector coming out of one of the Ys, positive and negative, and then the Pecron connector coming out of the other. And the reason why is because I have that 40 volt 200 watt panel. And the reason why I never really allow my Pecron E600 to play a major role is because the connector is proprietary. And because of me having so many power stations, I like the fact that I can take my XT60, take it out of the R1500 from All Powers and pop it into the Yolanis if I need to. I could take it out of the Yolanis and then pop it into the EcoFlow. I could take it out of the EcoFlow and then pop it into the All Powers R600. I could take it out of the all. You get it, right? XT60 is very common. But once I fill up this 614 watt hour connection of the joint, then I got power dump. And power dumping is fine. It gets annoying, but it works. But if I could take a parallel cable and give myself two connectors, then I could have XT60 on that 200 watt panel, charge up my EcoFlow when my EcoFlow is full, take the EcoFlow XT60 off, and then take the Pecron and plug it into the Pecron, because the Pecron's high charge joint needs a higher voltage. So, or you could do any combination. You could do 8mm and XT60. You could do proprietary connector and 8mm. I hope it works. If it does, it's gonna be dope because I love options. And to have options for somebody who has as many power stations as I have, that's fantastic. What you need? Okay, your phone should be your phone is powered off, but it should be charged. So unplug it and then take it with you.
Well, it is charged. Well, it's not anything low. I charged all the phones. Mine was at one, and that was at. Okay.
I saw it. Thank you for doing that. Does what I was explaining make sense? I feel like it's gonna be fly. Covered that. How many watts does your cable and internet use? Learning from you, but everything is well. My neck of the woods. In this neck of the woods. Where's your neck of the woods, Warren? And everything is good with me. My cable and internet. I don't have cable. I only have internet. My internet uses about 20 watts. But if you ask Blue Eddy, it uses like 30, 35. Blue Eddy's screen is like crazy inaccurate. I have to test the AC60 to see if it's inaccurate too, but they've never had like really accurate screens. And I need to see if it's still a thing. The AC60 screen is not accurate. The EV3A screen is not accurate. Their first big power station, its screen was not accurate. What's the one you like, Wayne? I just gave it away a few months ago. The EB120, the 240, the 150, their screens are not accurate either. And I've never touched. Actually, the AC200P might be accurate. I never put it in a position to critique it. It might be accurate. So I wonder if their AC500 and their AC300 is accurate as well. It'd be interesting. All right, 146. That covers it for me. If you guys are interested in winning the Rock Pals panel or the Sateki Power Station, the last live stream, you need to go comment with the word that you're interested in. Actually, just go to the last live stream and watch that segment. It's called probably like giveaway instructions or Rock Pals instructions or Sateki directions. I have time steps on it. Go watch that. Go comment on the video what you're interested in. You have to be in the 48 states. I will pick a winner this week. And how I will notify you is I will comment that you have won. I will heart your comment. And then you need to email me. I'll put my email address in the comment. And that's how we're going to do it. You have to pay for shipping. It's a possibility that you can win both. Not that many people entered. So your chances are really high of winning something. And as we keep rolling, we'll keep giving away stuff. Okay. I don't know where that is, but I see Florida. Is that in northern, southern, middle? All right, guys. Y'all be beautiful. I'm going to let the live stream linger a second. I'll still be here in the chat. So if you have any questions or want to say anything, go ahead and shoot. Appreciate y'all. That's a fact.